2 years ago, I started Wisdom Made Easy, a venture to encourage people to get wiser on a daily basis. And even though it just started as goofy little visuals that I drew on my iPad, it's transformed into so much more with a newsletter, video content, and hopefully much more to come. Now, it obviously didn't start out like that. Granted, I had some big dreams about where it could head. But today I wanted to share 3 lessons that I've been reflecting on recently as I celebrate the 2-year anniversary. The first thing is recognizing what your passion is. This is something that I regularly encourage people to explore. What is your purpose, your calling? Before I started Wisdom Made Easy, I did something with my church called the Calling Lab. It was a few weeks of activities, calls where we reflected on our personality types, our strengths, our weaknesses. We did some emotional responses to like some visual prompts. And all of these things helped us to build a picture about who we are and what God is calling us into the next season. Now, for me, I knew that I wanted to help people find their way, whatever that means. And part of that coincided with a key book in the Bible called Proverbs, where it speaks about wise principles. For me, I really love wisdom. I love getting wiser. And that partly comes because I've spent the best part of 2 decades living a bit of a fool. I made some regrettable choices in my youth, but because of that experience, I now recognize just how valuable getting wiser is. And I love that I get the opportunity to share that with you too. So I've spent considerable amounts of time investing in what I'm meant to be doing in this next season. This Calling Lab really helped me to identify that. And so here I am now doing something I absolutely love. And so if you're looking to build anything, a business, an online presence, whatever, I encourage you to start there. What is the thing that makes you come alive? There's a Howard Thurman quote that says something to the effect of, don't ask yourself what the world needs, ask yourself what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Now, for you, you might not know what that is, and that's okay. I want to encourage you to reflect on this. Grab a pen and paper, get a journal. If you want to do it digitally, go ahead. And ask yourself a few questions. What's the thing that I think about most? What do I think about when I first wake up in the morning? On the other end of the spectrum, what are you thinking about as your head hits the pillow? There's sometimes ideas that come to us just before we sleep. And these typically are the things that help us to come alive. So ask yourself, what makes you come alive? For me, it's being creative online, encouraging people to get wiser. The second idea that I've been reflecting on a lot is you just have to start. I'll say that again. You just have to start. So many of us build these things up in our head, and so we experience imposter syndrome. Nobody's going to want to hear what I have to say. Am I meant to be sharing this online? But actually, there's 8 billion people on this planet, and I guarantee at least someone else is going to be interested in what you have to say. And so, find your people. I spent a decent amount of time before starting Create Visuals online, connecting with people. Yanis Ozolins, Hannah Wilson, PJ Milani, all of these creators, I watched their stuff. I scrutinized it, studied it, I engaged with their content, asked them questions, got feedback. And some of these creators have become my closest friends. I speak to a few of them on a daily basis. But I had to actually start myself. Like, I wasn't going to get anywhere by just studying their work. I had to actually do something, post my first visual. And so I did. May 2022, whilst I was on my belated honeymoon. I said that I wasn't going to start creating anything online until my wife and I had our little getaway. I'll talk more about that in another video maybe, but whilst I was there, I shared a visual that, for me, kind of kickstarted everything. I had about 27 followers before posting this visual, and then it just took off. Stephen Bartlett shared it online, despite it having a typo in it, and my following grew tenfold over the next day, and just kind of snowballed from there. Because I actually started, I saw some results. I feel like God honoured what I was doing, and here we are, 2 years later, with a following of, approaching 200,000. And the fact that I get to encourage people on every corner of the planet, every day, to get wiser, is just so humbling. Such a great thing that I could never have foreseen. But you've just got to start. There's a famous quote that is, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So if you're looking to build anything online too, I'd encourage you, start. You don't need permission, just start. And the third and final thing is to find your tribe. I mentioned a little bit there that I engage with a few people on a regular basis, and these are my confidants. These are people that I can confide in about the creator journey, because there are some highs and there's some devastating lows. There's discussions that you need to have about the dopamine hits when you get a certain follower count. Is that a healthy thing? Probably not. And so having people that you can confide in and just support one another, keep each other accountable, is really valuable. To identify your suitable confidants, I have 3 pieces of advice. 1, they've got to be trustworthy. It will cause you more harm than good if you find someone that is not trustworthy. You can kind of do some little experiments to identify if someone's trustworthy, but realistically, that's quite obvious. Number 2 is they've kind of got to know what you're talking about. There's nothing more frustrating than just having someone go, "What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?" every time you want to confide in them. Try and find suitable people that know what you're talking about. It doesn't have to be a complete understanding, but at least a little bit of an overlap will work. And then lastly, I want to share something I call, you don't buy a smoothie from a baker. Or rather, bakers don't sell smoothies. Now, this sounds a little bit odd, so bear with me here. But say I wanted to get in shape. Maybe I'm getting a little bit pudgy because I keep going to the bakers and enjoying their pastries. And so I've heard that smoothies are a great way to get your 5 a day. So I go to my regular bakers and I ask them for a healthy smoothie. And they say, "We don't sell those here." So I'm faced with a couple of choices. I can either keep trying to go back to the baker and get that smoothie, despite them not actually selling it, or I can go elsewhere. When you're looking for a confidant, you need to find someone who's actually up for the job. If they're not fit for purpose, if they can't offer you that relationship, go elsewhere. That's not to say cut off your relationship entirely with those people, but it's to say that if you're looking for someone that you can confide in about this particular thing, you're better off speaking to someone who's fit for purpose, someone who's willing to do that, who can actually fulfill that role. So, bakers don't sell smoothies, and certain friends aren't fit for confidants. That's okay. So hopefully those 3 tips will help you to find your tribe, and so you'll be able to build and create in a safe environment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I shared today, so let me know in the comments. And if there's anything else that you would add to this, I'd love to hear from you. But for now, thank you so much for all the support over the last 2 years. I'd like to think that Wisdom Made Easy is just getting started. And if you've got any ideas about how we can continue to encourage one another to get wiser, I'd love to hear them. You can either email me at hello@wisdommadeeasy.com or leave a comment on this video. Thank you so much, and I look forward to getting wiser together.